All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. You are watching Ascending on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. You are also probably watching on his Twitter X channel, but we welcome you wherever your eyeballs are. We thank you for watching. Um, we want to remind you if you're watching, you know how we do every week. If you're watching on Twitter and X, again, we thank you for your eyeballs, but we want you to switch over and watch on YouTube. This is Ascending. I'm your happy host, April R. Silver. We are here every Saturday morning at 11 Eastern at Caro to all of my family. So definitely tune in. Tell your people to tune in. Tell us from where you are ascending. We want to see you in the chat. We want to get what city, what state, what country, what part of the world, what part of the globe. You know how we do. I'm so grateful that you're watching, period, because November is National Hip Hop History Month. November is a lot of months. It's National Adoption or Adoptee Awareness Month. We have so many others. It's National Diabetes Awareness Month. I am a diabetic, recently diagnosed, so that's important to me. But right now, we're going to focus on National Hip Hop History Month, right? As we've said in the past couple of weeks. So this week, we have an extra. I'm going to say probably a annoying and frustrating conversation. Not our guest, but the topic. We're going to be talking about the downside of hip hop media fame and culture. We're going to be talking with C.Truth, who I'm so happy that he's going to be with us. You'll get a chance to be familiar with his brilliance in just a moment. And then Starr Rocque, who you all might remember from just a couple of weeks ago when she was on. These are people who are very, very dear to me. So I want you to take a look at the graphic if you're watching, but if you're listening, again, the topic today is the downside of hip hop media, fame, and culture. I promise you it's going to be a very, very robust conversation. These are hip hop heads, hip hop journalists, and I'm just going to tell you right now, buckle up. So, again, as you're tuning in, tell us from where you are ascending. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. We're going to check the comments a little bit earlier in the show because y'all be on fire in the comments. So, we thank you for returning. I want to shout out my team. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Where we go? Where we go? Hold. Okay, there we go. I want to shout out my team. Um, Drake, Aaron, Kevin, and Sandy. And of course, I want to shout out Marc Lamont Hill official team. I got to do that every week because y'all, if y'all only knew how much it takes to put this show on, it really, really does take a lot. I want to give you a reminder again about how you can support this lot of work. Marc is now on Patreon. And if you become a member of Patreon, you'll get night school, you'll get office hours, you'll get new content that he's developing. You're going to get it early, you're going to get exclusives, you're going to get expanded content as well. But if you're able to become a member, it helps to put gas in the car for everything that Marc is doing with regard to his Black media movement, the indie Black media movement, which includes this show. Y'all know we're at episode 43, so I don't want to let you go without sharing that. So wait, here's yep, there we go. What is it? The QR code? That's important. That's how you can join Marc Lamont Hill official on Patreon. So that's really, really important for you to know. I'll likely say it again at the end, but please go ahead and do that. So let's jump right in to our bookmark. So, okay, I'm going to try to not meander here, but the bookmark for those who are listening and not watching is Sweat the Technique, Revelations on Creativity from the Lyrical Genius. So if I just say lyrical genius, so all of my fellow hip hop heads, I don't even have to tell you who the author is, right? If I say Sweat the Technique, Revelations on Creativity from the Lyrical Genius, you must know that I'm talking about Rakim. So on the screen is a picture, and I forgot, I'm really kind of beating myself up. I forgot that this book came out in 2019. I don't have it. I'm ordering it from Uncle Bobby's today though, because when I decided that that was going to be the bookmark, then that's the reminder for you all to get your book. All of the every week we do a bookmark, get it from Uncle Bobby's. So every week we have a reminder to support Black-owned bookstores. That's the thing with us here. We want you to get it from UncleBobby's.com. You don't have to get it from there. Maybe there's a local Black-owned bookstore in your neighborhood. I don't know, but if there isn't, get it from UncleBobby's.com. The reason that's important because Uncle Bobby's, the Uncle Bobby's Coffee and Books is owned by Marc Lamont Hill, the owner of this channel, the one who's gifted me with this opportunity. So we definitely want you to always support Black institutions. That's a thing here for those who are new here at Ascending, which we're here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We also do Black Media Shout Out. Black Media Shout Out today is relative to the Amsterdam News, and we've given a Black Media shout out to the Amsterdam News before, for sure, but we're doing it again because in my prep for this theme and Hip Hop History Month, I forgot about this. No, to be fair, I just learned about arguably the first article, the first print news item on hip hop was by Nelson George in 1978. So if you are listening and not watching, I want you to know that. But if you're watching, what you see on the screen is a clip. This is from July 1st, 1978 in the Amsterdam News. So we want to give the Amsterdam News a Black newspaper in New York that is, I think, approaching 115 years. They've been around for a long time. We've done Black Media Shout Out with them before, but I definitely wanted to shout them out again. It aligns with the topic. I want to shout out the Columbia University, the school. They did a hip hop conference on hip hop journalism. I'm sorry, a conference on hip hop journalism just a couple of years ago. We'll find the link for that conference because there's all of the OGs were there at the conference with regard to hip hop journalism, right? So there was a lot of history. Nelson George was there. But some of those videos are on the Columbia University website. And I think that was from like 2 years ago. So shout out to all of my friends and peers, Joan Morgan, so many people, Dr. Jelani Cobb, who's the dean of journalism there at Columbia. But I wanted to definitely let you all know about that because that's where I was like, oh, wait, there's this clip here. It's right there on the homepage. But thank you to Nelson George. He's an OG. If you don't know who Nelson George is, please look him up. But I wanted that to be the Black Media shout out for today. I think oh no, we have to do in memoriam. This is a little bit more somber. Our in memoriam, y'all know this is a regular segment. Sorry, this is the wrong one. My bad. The in memoriam for today, Kevin, you can put it up. It's in your section. The in memoriam for today, Saturday, November 22nd, is we are paying homage to the spirit of Sean Bell. What you see on the screen is a picture of Sean Bell, the famous picture that was circulating. And if you remember, in New York City, in Queens in particular, in 2006, on November 25th, 2006, Sean Bell was murdered by NYPD. A ridiculous amount of bullets. I don't remember the number of bullets. It doesn't matter. He was murdered by NYPD. And it was horrific. I was one of the thousands of people who took to the streets, in New York. It was a horrific, horrific time. It was a horrific death. I want to shout out to his wife. During that time, I was in a little bit of communication with her foundation. I forget the name. If my memory serves me correctly, I think the foundation is if it's real, it lasts forever. We can do some research on that. But I want to shout out to her as well, Nicole. Sorry, Nicole Paltry Bell. This was on the eve of his wedding night, the eve of his wedding day that Sean Bell was murdered ruthlessly by NYPD. So that happened November 25th, 2026. So we're approaching, oh my God, next year it'll be 20 years. So I know there's going to be a lot of chatter, but we don't wait for anniversaries. We don't wait for milestone anniversaries. So I just want to lift up the family and praise his spirit, pay homage to his spirit. He as an ancestor. So I definitely wanted to do that for sure. So I think on that note, if
Rocque,
it's okay,
before we go, would you like to show the Rocque?
yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, so I'm gonna pick the energy back up just a little bit. So we're gonna talk about who our favorite MCs are in just a minute. Mine is Rakim. It's a long list, but Rakim is at the top. So let me just say this. Y'all have heard me talk about why you all should join Put on Blast. You go to AquilaWorksongs.com. You can join the email newsletter that I started in 1997. If you would have done that and you live in New York, New Jersey, wherever, and you could have gotten to the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, you could have been with me and Kevin and Aaron because we have free tickets. Yes, the NJ Pack is a client, but they allow us on occasion to give away comps to people in our network. So if you were on the list, you would have had the opportunity to see what we saw. Kevin, you can run the clip.
Had a heart attack, nobody smiling. Cause you expressing around and I'm styling. This is what we all get down to right. Can't make it so you take it home, break it, fight. You beat the bitch on my hip hop hit. The sound down fast, and it's time to switch. Put my tape on pause, ask the more than yours. Ready for the neighborhood tour, a EMC.
That's just a little bit. That's just a little bit. Kev, what about the other one? Did the other one load? I don't
Not,
want to say that.
no,
No?
not yet. I'll get it for us.
Okay. So I'm not gonna say who the other person was that was at that show. Shout out to NJ Pack. Shout out to Mayor Raz Baraka. Go back and watch the episode where I interviewed Mayor Raz Baraka, Mayor of Newark. But shout out to NJ Pack. Shout out to the New Yorican Poets Cafe. Shout out to, I'll go ahead and say it, Slick Rick and Chuck D were also on the bill. All of the poets that were there. It was an amazing show that we didn't pay for. And you could have not paid for as well. You could have been our guest. We had a number of people who were there as our guests. But yes, this is a flex. You should join the email list. If you're in the region, we have people coming from DC, not DC, Philly. Oh, there we go. So let me shut up because Chuck is about to teach us.
Spaces are twisted, their blackness they call themselves black, but we'll see if they'll play this.
Man, if you're not a hip hop head, this is not the show for you. You might want to learn something, but I'm telling you right now, this is not the show for you. Man, I was geeking out the whole show. Thank you to NJ Pack. They've been a client since 1997. So, on that note, why don't we bring on our guests and we can keep the conversation going? Let's bring on Starr Rocque. Let's bring on C.Truth. And there we go. How you doing, fam?
Great. Especially after seeing that.
Man,
That's
I
like memories right there.
it's so
Memories.
classic. And Chuck is 65. Chuck D is 65.
Age don't
Rocky,
matter.
I know, but I'm just saying, but I'm saying that as a flex. I'm saying that as a like, look at where we have evolved to.
Yeah.
I'm saying that as a compliment,
Yeah. I feel
So
like the older gen they're smoking the younger. I hate to be that person, but the older cats are smoking the younger gen with the stage presence and the energy and remembering everything, and they just know how to do it. It's
that part,
completely different.
that part, that part.
Foundation. It's the foundation they
Mhm.
had.
Yes. And they've been doing this for 40 years, and in a lot of cases. But the other part that was I turned into a 5-year-old, like like I've been with Chuck D before. You know what I mean? Like, we've done activism work. There's a long story. We'll probably talk about it more next week when Tim Jones comes, but there's a long history with me and Chuck D, and he shouts me out on social media randomly at 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Like, so that's amazing, right? Yes, I'm flexing. But the other the other one is Rakim. I've been in the same space with him, but I've never seen him perform. So I was like a 5-year-old, because it was just magical when you think about who they are. Like, have you all seen them perform or seen your idols, perform?
Absolutely.
Not Rakim and Chuck. I haven't seen them, but my hip hop gen was. I'm an 80s baby, so I was there for Rakim. I was a kid, but my hip hop gen was the 90s. So I've seen a lot of my 90s folks, but I haven't seen Rakim or Chuck D just yet.
Okay. What about in C.Truth? C.Truth, you said absolutely, right?
Yeah, and on some occasions, a couple of times, like a few times. So I've
Oh
had
wow.
that opportunity to do that. So yeah, it's definitely been great.
Tell us about every time you've seen Chuck or Rakim. Like, tell us about that. And I again, I just got so excited. I didn't even introduce you all properly. I just was like, we just started talking, bump the
Yeah.
audience, right? No, but C Truth is a DJ, a journalist, a radio producer, and the founder of Thermal Sound Waves. We're going to get into all of the magical things that I've known him. Dag, it's got to be close to 30 years. We've been
Something like that. Because when
rocking together.
you're
You
talking
know what I
about Put
mean?
on Blast was 97 and
Yeah.
Thermal was founded in 95. So it's around the same timeline. Around the same timeline.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that you're here. And I just forgot that there's an audience, right? So, but again, tell us about those times that you've seen, your hip hop icons perform. Like, what was that like?
It was just amazing to see, and it was just I was just happy to actually see them in person, live on stage, after listening to them and playing their music on so many different occasions at so many different spots and parties and talking about them and then actually seeing them do their thing like live on stage was just a great feeling and a
Yeah.
great moment. And their presence on that stage is something to see, how they command and how they move the stage, just very differently, because they're
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
they're not two
Mhm.
people who have like the dancers and the hype and all of that, but they still have presence
Yeah.
without all of that.
Yeah.
And these are the different things that I love about hip hop, because of the diversification in hip hop, where you can see these different things between artists, where you don't have to be just this. You can have this one that does that, Chuck D that does this, and De La that does this, and
Mhm.
Yes.
so on and so on and so on. Even some of the newer artists. There's so much different variations in hip hop that you can see, that it's not just one thing.
Right. It's multi-layered. I'm hearing you say it's definitely multi-layered. I would agree with you.
Mhm.
I would agree with you. I want to switch that same question over to Starr, who's a journalist, writer, and a podcaster. We're going to talk about all of that too. Starr, welcome back. Welcome
Thank
back
you.
to Ascending. But now you just now said that you like some of the icons from the 90s or whatever, that's more your flow. So
Mhm.
who have you seen that you were like, oh my God, I'm so grateful to be alive? Like,
Okay, so the most recent, I'm gonna go with Busta Rhymes. Like I have seen Busta Rhymes a million times since he came out solo. He actually was part of the very first hip hop concert I went to. So in '95, when he dropped his solo debut, I went with my big sister. We went to the Apollo. We saw
Mhm.
Busta Rhymes, the Fugees, Jay-Z, and I think this was a smaller act. I guess that you would classify as a one-hit wonder, but Nonchalant, I think, was one of the opening acts. But Busta Rhymes in general, I mean, between Busta Rhymes and the Fugees at that time, they were the best performers. And Jay at that time was, I've seen Jay a lot too, and I'll say his trajectory in terms of performing has gotten so much better. It's been great to watch him. But Busta Rhymes has never wavered,
Disappointed.
never
Right.
changed, never disappointed. I saw him in '95, then I saw him again probably like '98, then I saw him again when I was in college in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I saw him
Yeah.
again just back in the spring. So there's a new event that April, we could talk about this off screen because I think you might want to talk to the founder. But there's a
Okay.
new event that launched in April called Social Media Week, and it's founded by a Black man who works in SEO. He is also a really great rapper. That's a whole other story.
Wow.
But
Okay.
he's like a rapper, CEO, tech guy, but went to Howard.
Oh.
But he had Busta Rhymes as his guest. Like at the end of the week, at the end of all the festivities of the week, they had a party. Busta Rhymes came through, and it was still like, so I say this to say I've seen him in front of different types of audiences, different sizes. So the Social Media Week event was more of like a smaller, intimate type of party versus like at the Apollo, and I've also seen him at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
He has never changed. Like he just has so much energy. He wants to make sure everybody is up. If you can stand up, then you need to be up. You need to rap along, and he will tell you to put now he's like, put the phones away, be in the moment, have fun. Just amazing. Busta Rhymes is my, like, in terms of like, if I can say like of the top live performances I've ever seen. And I've seen Prince, so you know.
Wait, time out. Out of your all-time favorite performers, you would put Busta Rhymes over Prince?
No. Prince is number one. Prince is up there.
Okay.
But Busta Rhymes is up there too.
You was about to get kicked off the show. No.
No, I just say that to say Busta Rhymes is up there. Like he's top 5.
Okay.
Prince is number one, but
okay. You're back.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, it's really, I mean, we don't wait for Hip Hop History Month to talk about hip hop, right? We don't wait for that. That's what the government does and all of that stuff. And what was it, a couple of years ago when the government, it was an official proclamation and all of the media was putting out stuff like November is Hip Hop History Month. I was livid because I'm like, not because the government said so. Like we said that. Like I hated that people thought that it had just started. C.Truth, were you as livid as I? Then we'll get into the other part of the conversation. But
like,
what was your feeling when you heard that?
I'm always when it's these month things because we don't exist and things don't exist just within a month. It's like all year round. So it's ongoing. Right. You know? And we here are definitely the people who do that and show you that like all the time with what we do. So, you know.
Yeah, I do think there's some value, and maybe this is my publicist hat coming on. Like, I think there's some value in having a concentrated period where everybody's on the same train and there's content and you're refreshing and you're trying to cut through whatever. There's some value there, I do believe. And I'm not saying you're saying otherwise. But I think the authenticity for real, if you give a damn, then you're gonna not wait for the month and you're gonna go beyond the month, right? Would you agree to create conversation and awareness and to talk about these things, right? You would agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my dear friends, I'm bouncing all over the place because I'm just a 5-year-old. I'm excited because we have this topic. The topic, like I said, is the downside of hip hop media, fame, and culture. The reason I wanted you all to do this because your work is so extensive in hip hop. You don't wait for the shine. You don't wait for corporate entertainment companies to validate your work. You just don't wait. You are of the culture, and your perspective as journalists, people who've been working in the media field, is stellar. And so I wanted to get your feedback on um, some of the things that we got right as a culture, hip hop culture, and some of the things that we've gotten wrong, and specifically from an independent journalist perspective. And that could go for coverage, that could go for what we focus on. Let's just open it up there, and then we'll let the conversation breathe. So Starr, let me start with you, because you've been a blogger. You have your own book out. You've written for, we didn't even put this up, like for jet.com, right? Not, it was Jet Print or the
It
.com.
was a little bit the print, but .com. I was one of the founding editors of the .com
Yeah,
when they
see?
tried to, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yes.
XXL was my first magazine job, so I've been all over the place.
You've been all over the place. I'm happy to say you were part of the Aquila Work Song, or you are,
Yes,
but you
yes,
worked
yes,
at
yes.
Aquila Work Songs as well. I remember when you
Yep,
first graduated from Hampton.
yep,
Let
yep.
me, yeah, so yeah,
You gave a pirate a chance.
say it again.
I said you
Say it.
gave a pirate a chance.
Yes, yes, yes. It's all HBCU love, as long as you just know the real HU is.
Anyway.
No. But no, for real, it's all HBCU love across the board. But I've seen you. I've seen you grow. You put in the work, the sacrifice, your writing skills, your insights. So share with us that question about what has the culture gotten right, what has the culture gotten wrong when it relates to hip hop media and specifically.
Yeah, I think one thing that the culture has gotten right is documenting hip hop media, for good and the better, for better or for worse. I think well, first of all, hip hop history is history, and I think this is kind of a tangent, but I think still related. I think the way we treat the Harlem Renaissance, like how we learn about the Harlem Renaissance, is how we should start to focus on hip hop history. I think that's necessary, and I don't know that that's been done so much. I feel like maybe in the early days of hip hop media, I think one of the things that attracted me was being able to read like certain bylines of people, like in the source, like I don't know, in Akiba Solomon, or like Aaliyah S. King, like different people like that who wrote really interesting, profound things. Joan Morgan. So that foundation was there, and I think those are the types of things we got correct, like looking at hip hop through a lens of not just the art, but the politics and the nuances that help to shape and form it. One of the biggest things we got wrong, and honestly, I don't know where we go from here because this is a capitalistic society, but is allowing business to kind of overtake the types of stories that we tell and the types of control that's had. Another thing that we've gotten wrong is the gossipification, if that's the gossipification of news.
That's
I
a
think
good
I
one.
get what I'm saying.
That's a starism.
Yeah, yeah.
You coined it right here.
Yeah. But there's just like, I don't know, it's like less news, less education, more gossip. Like you can't even, it's harder to find stories or journalists willing to cover stories about the meat of things, like the why of the art, the process, the journey. Now it's more about their personal lives and things that aren't really that relevant. So that's some of the stuff I can think of off the top of my head about things that we got right and things that we got wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're spot on. I think you're spot on. C.Truth, you've been in the game longer than Starr has, and so by extension, likely seen more. So I'm going to ask you the same question, like from an independent hip hop media lens, what did the culture get right? What did it get wrong?
Right. Well, yeah, Starr was definitely spot on with what she was saying. I agree with everything she said as well. As far as what we got wrong was kind of turning away from the foundation of what is hip hop and the people who make hip hop, right? And the people who do it, be it people who write about it, the artists who actually make the music and make the art, create the art, and everything that surrounds it, like the whole entire ecosystem around hip hop. You know, kind of getting away from that is one of the things that we got wrong, and sort of paying attention to, you know, more so the commercial aspects of it, and not paying attention to some of the other elements. You can do all of it. You don't have to be one or the other. I think people don't understand that today. Like, it's like either this or that. It's everything. It's all of that. As someone who was raised on hip hop, you know, it was positive and negatives in my life. You know, I don't shy away from either one, you know. But one of the things I will say that we got right as far as hip hop goes is I learned a lot from listening to some of the things as far as the information that was put out in the music and what was written about and what was talked about. I got an education on a lot of different things just from listening to some of these artists and going back and researching and doing things like that. So it definitely, that aspect is missing. Not that the fact that people aren't doing that or making these things anymore, but the fact that we're not kind of giving light to it enough. I mean, I definitely do, but it's not enough.
It's
Right.
hard, yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that's an issue now is the algorithms, because hip hop news and media is so digital. It's unfortunate, but we're in a place now where algorithms control a lot of what people see and are gravitated toward. It's almost like a game where and I'll tell you this, like, as a journalist, I've worked with people in tech who they won't even allow their own children, for example, to be on social media because of these algorithm games that are played, like pushing negativity and trying to get people going in the worst way possible. So that's something that, you know, it's unfortunate, but I say this to say, if you see any independent journalists or writers or creators who are putting content out and you like what they're put out, it's imperative that you support them. You can
Yes.
support them by sharing, commenting. If you have it, you know, if they have some sort of subscription, donate in some way. But we need that engagement because we have to really combat these algorithms that are pumping out negativity.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like to add also is that I think, you know, we live in a circular society, the universe is in a cycle. So everything always comes back. And I think we're nearing the point where we're coming back to the foundation once again. Whereas with hip hop, we couldn't wait for people to do this or that for us. We had to do it ourselves because people didn't believe in hip hop. People weren't
That
supporting hip hop like
that
that.
part.
We
Yeah.
did that. We
Yeah.
we supported each other because we had to. So I think right now there's a malaise in what's going on as far as just art and music in general. People are getting very bored and tired with what's going on. So it's a time now. I don't. It could be here and it's coming where we're coming back to the point where we have to settle in and go back to what we did once in the past, which is create things and support more independence and artists that are doing things different from the norm.
Yeah. And I agree so much with what each of you are saying. And that's why we're happy that you're here on this independent, outlet. C.Truth. I'm like, I don't know that I've ever called you as a publicist and had a guest, a client that you said no to. You know what I mean? In terms of my clients being on thermal sound waves, right? Your radio show, and where you've invited me without a client, you know what I mean? And
Right.
I know that some people actually don't do that as publicists because everybody's trying to go for the New York Times or Blavity or whatever. And I'm not poo-pooing I am poo-pooing the New York Times because they're biased as hell. I'm sorry. I mean, I wouldn't, whatever. I got problems, right, with the New York Times and the Washington Post and so forth. And I stand with the journalists who are like, until they change their editorial bylaws, like I stand with them, right? But what I'm trying to say that overall, what they represent as general population white media, to put it pointedly. That's what people want. Even when they tell you they want Black media, even when they tell you they want independent media, at the end of the campaign, they was like, oh, that's great, but you didn't get me in the New Yorker or New York Times, right? So I've always been the person that looks for the independent outlet because that's ground level. It's foundational. So I'm just giving you your flowers, because
Thank you.
thermal sound waves. What's your tag? It's the oldest independent. What is the tag? The
Well,
the
it's one of the longest running
that
radio programs and shows in the country. I don't know about world, I don't know about that, but definitely in the country is one of the longest running. As
yeah.
far as we haven't stopped since we started. Like there's
Since
been no
1995.
since
Wait, we
'95
just gotta
when
pause and say that out loud
yeah,
with
That's a
emphasis.
major deal.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
1995
And I was never trained in radio and all that. I've learned all of this just from being around certain
from doing it.
people and doing
Yeah.
it and so forth
Wow.
and just gaining some nuggets from some legends as well along the way that helped me
Yeah,
out and just building upon that.
yeah. You've done amazing work. It's a fun time. Shout out to Kev Lawrence as well,
Yes, indeed.
your co-host who came on later. But I just want to give you your flowers, and I want to shout out all of the publicists and artists who can appreciate independent media. I want
Yes.
to say that because
Mhm.
it's not just you as the host, as the visionary, but it's the people who show up on your shows, who
Right.
reach, do all of that stuff, because otherwise the culture is not going to thrive. So I'm just taking a
Hmm.
moment to give you your flowers. Thank you for the decades, of us working together. I definitely want to do that. And Star, the same to you. We've been rocking together for a minute.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And your energy and your insight is definitely spot on. And even with you being at AURN, let me just say, well, let me let you say, AURN, American Urban Radio Networks. Can you
Hmm.
just tell us about that? Because some would argue that that's maybe independent, even though it's owned by a famous person. But what do you think?
Yeah. It's I won't say his name because he's very boomer about it, but everyone knows the musician with the glasses and that can't see.
Right.
He's been in, well, maybe not everyone knows who he is or should know who he is, but he's actually owned media for years, for decades.
Yeah.
So that's like a little known fact about him. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, American Urban Radio Networks has been in the game for a while. They celebrated 50 the same year hip hop celebrated 50. Um, Syndicates a lot of radio shows, has reporters in the White House, which to be Black-owned media, independently owned,
They're the
to
first
have,
and only, right? The first
yeah,
and
yep,
only
I
news
believe so.
outlet. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's April Ryan is one of the alum who, people know her mostly from CNN, but she actually was with American Urban Radio Networks, and she's
Before
no longer
CNN. Yeah,
before, yeah, and so
yeah.
she's not with A1 anymore. So I got to shout out Ebony McMorris, who is now the political reporter. But yeah, um, they syndicate a lot of radio shows that people know, well known. And since 2019, I've been working with them, like just building up a digital presence. Because that's the thing, like when you are a smaller company, you may not sometimes get onto things as early as you should. So like digital, you might say, oh, 2019, that's kind of late to be in the digital, like in the, just getting into digital. But sometimes it's a matter of resources in terms of media. A lot of times it's a matter of resources actually. But yeah, so AURN, it's all things pop culture, political,
Yeah,
lifestyle, all kinds of things. And I like working with them. But again, like resources can be an
yeah,
issue.
yeah. And,
But yeah,
and,
I
and
do. Oh no, go
no, I
ahead, go
was
ahead.
I was just going to say you've written, and I meant to bring this up, but you did a article a couple of years ago about, I think, the influential hip hop artists. So you're bringing your hip hop aesthetic to
Mm-hmm.
AURN. You have a weekly show on IG Live. It's not really a podcast because it's a live stream
Yeah.
every Tuesday. Every
Every
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Yeah,
And
at 7 p.m.
I just interviewed Kwame, by the way. Polka
Haha.
Dot
Whoa.
Kwame. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll talk about that because
Okay.
that was a highlight for me. But since we're talking about hip hop, yes. And
Yes.
that was actually my longest. So I do a Tuesday night IG live where I speak with people that I describe as like visionaries, people who are contributing to the culture in visionary ways. And even if there are people that I may not agree with their philosophy or whatever, like there's things that I
Yeah.
see that I'm like, okay, this is a good conversation worth having.
Yeah.
But bring that.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I want to let people know that you're watching Ascending. We're here every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're talking about hip hop is Hip Hop History Month. Like, do us a favor, to Starr's point, to C.Truth's point, tell your people to tune in. And if it's okay if you're not watching live, tell them, if they can't watch live, tell them to watch Sunday, tomorrow, or 6 o'clock. Just
Those
go to Marc
replay
Lamont
views
Hill.
are important.
It's really important. It's amazing. People are like, "Oh, April, I'm so sorry. I can't watch your show on Saturdays because I have such and such." I'm like, "But it's on YouTube. It lives there." So I just had to put that in there. But so, let me take the conversation slightly different just for a nanosecond. We're talking about artists. We're talking, Kikiing over Rakim and Chuck D. And you just interviewed Kwame, right? I read an article recently, I think it came out last year, in prepping for this in particular, where there was a critique of the artists who don't, so not just the consumer or the audience member or the fan of hip hop, but the artists themselves who don't support hip hop journalism, period. Be it thermal sound waves, AURN, or BET, because they really, because they themselves want to be in Rolling Stone, right? You know what I mean? So they don't grant the interviews, right? They don't do those indie things, or whatever. So some of the blame lays on the artist as well, because if the artist says, "I want to talk to every college radio station," then their team would have to do that. So, C.Truth, would you agree that some of this is on the artists themselves?
Yeah, and to their detriment, because there's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to come back and talk to us about whatever it is. These things aren't going to live forever.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones or whatever, because a lot of them are controlled by corporations, which their only main goal in this thing is to make revenue and to see what their return on investment is. And when that stops, guess what? Those things are going to stop as well. They don't have a vested interest in the art as we do.
That part.
And this is how you get interviewers that aren't familiar with hip hop or the culture. Because I've seen artists complaining about that. Like,
Yes.
for example, I saw this was like an older, like Kendrick Lamar interview where the woman I was interviewing, like he made a Martin joke, like the Martin TV show, and he was saying how he loved the show, and then he started doing Martin, like doing the show, and she was like, "What?" And then he went in on her. He was like, "What? You don't know Martin? Oh, the interview is over. This is," but it was like, what I mean? It was playful, but there's a lot of that happening, like people that do, and it's like we don't expect everybody to know everything, especially if you are of a certain age or generation, but like there's just even certain things I've seen where it's like now someone who actually did their research or at least is adjacent to the culture would know that or understand that, or
Right.
so
Yeah.
sometimes it is the artist, and sometimes we a writer friend of mine and I were just having a conversation complaining about publicists who it's not always white publicists either, but a lot of times it is, but
Okay.
who like they don't respect certain media, and like they won't set up interviews with you because they do want like the Rolling Stones or the Billboards, but
Right.
they don't know, they're not familiar with the types of articles that AURN puts out or that like an Ebony puts out, and they're like, well, we don't want to do that. And then you'll have their clients, right? Like the artists complaining about, oh well, I don't see any hip hop media, or I don't do any. But it's like, do you talk to your publicist? Do you know that I
Right,
reached out for an interview and they shut me down? Because I've had
right.
that happen. I've had people
Yes.
shut me down, and it was clear you didn't like the publication I was representing. So
Yeah. Star,
yeah.
Right.
you're opening up a lot. I'll take you to another avenue besides hip hop. I don't think I've told this story before, but I had the blessing to work with Danny Glover on a special project, right?
Hmm.
Um, the social activist aspect of Danny Glover. He was doing some work um, uh, at the Department of Justice. This was a couple of years ago. And so he was so mind, body, and spirit on in on this campaign. His PR agency, what is it, Rogers and Cohen's, whatever, the big one.
Hmm.
And I said the name, so whatever. But they were the opposite.
Okay.
He was like, I'm all in. What do you need, April?
I
I'm in
love him.
conversation with him. I'm trying not to geek out on the phone. I'm trying to
Yeah.
maintain my professionalism and ask the right questions, but he's going in and making himself available as best he can for
Hmm.
this work that he signed up for. And the PR agency was the opposite. Tried
Hmm.
to do, but I had his number, right? So I could bypass. But I'm trying to do the respectful thing. But my only point to say is there is often a disconnect.
Hmm.
There's often a disconnect between the artist and the PR firm or the handlers.
Hmm.
C.Truth, you know that to be true as well?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of guests and a lot of interviews I've gotten on the program are throughout either Kev's like one-on-one or my particular one-on-one, or just reaching out to the artist or whoever it was themselves or myself. So just being where they were and just talking to them like, listen, this is what
Right.
I do. Like, oh, okay, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Without
Hmm.
the in-betweens who can sometimes, muck
Right.
things up. I mean, this is how I was able to get Idris Elba and
I
Issa
was just about to
Rae
ask Flex.
and
Yeah.
Roy Ayers, and the list goes on and on and on. But it's
Hmm.
because of that. Like I was where they were and talking to them like face to face, one on one, and they were like, okay, let's do it. There's no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. But say again some of the people that the audience might know more broadly. You said Idris Alba, you've interviewed, and Roy Ayers, but there's a couple of other. I want you to flex a little bit.
Charlie Murphy, Michael
Oh
B.
wow.
Jordan, Dave Winfield, the big baseball Hall of Famer,
Yes.
God Shamgar, the like hoops like legend. For those who are into basketball, you'll know who that is.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else? Slum Village,
Wow.
Raekwon, and just and a lot of these people, not just them, but a lot of artists will also say, "Hey, this is the best interview I ever had. Like this was so
Hmm.
much fun.
Part.
This was like,
Yes.
this was like refreshing. This was like
Hmm.
so cool.
Yes.
We don't do the things that other people do, where it's like it's this script that they have, and it's
Right.
Yeah.
like
If
strictly
even that,
follow it.
because sometimes people don't even do like a basic Google search where it's
Yeah.
like, I remember I interviewed Roy Jr. last year for was it last year? I don't know, last year or the year before, but relatively recently for
For
when I was
his
doing
new
the
show.
AURN. No. This was just he was just doing us a favor. Like his new show, he didn't even have it yet. Like it was
Okay.
just
Who are you talking about?
Roy Wood Jr., the
Oh, okay. I
comedian.
didn't hear that part.
So
Gotcha.
so a
Okay.
lot of people Roy Wood Jr.'s dad used to be a journalist and he used to actually work for AURN. Like he was like a civil rights, so back in
Wow.
the 60s, 70s. But so when we had the AURN podcast, I had two other hosts. Someone from the station was like, "Oh, let's see if we can get Roy." And he came just on the strength of like, you know, my dad worked here. I respect journalists. I respect media. He is a journalist himself in a lot of ways. It's comedic, but he still does journalism. And so he
Yeah.
came to hang out with us unknowns. And even like after the interview, he was like, thank y'all for like doing some research. He's like, I can't tell y'all how many interviews I don't went to, and they didn't even know who I was, like stuff like that. And that he's not the only person. And it's like like this is happening a lot in media. A lot of people are more focused on being personalities themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's another issue too.
Yeah. That it's this is the downside, right? This is the
Hmm.
downside when people are thirsty for all that is glittering and all that is gold or whatever, and they're totally bypassing um where the nutrients are. What is your saying on C.Truth that thermal sound waves is the well,
the
I'll let you do your tag.
the natural alternative to fast food radio.
I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
natural alternative to fast food radio. That's what thermal sound waves is all about. And you're going to tell us, of course, before you go, like where people can find we'll put up that information. But I want to ask you about just to extend the conversation a little bit more. Have you um, have you seen where artists have started off? This is about fame, right? Where people started off humble, uh, personal experience. Started off humble and got all of the industry accolades or whatever, and then they just became somebody else. You know what I mean? Or maybe even conversely, they had all of the industry accolades and 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 lost it for whatever reason, and then had to come back with it, come back to your platforms or whatever. Can you share stories along those lines?
Not off the top right now. I would have to think about that for a little bit.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
bring up anyone specifically now. I
No,
can
that's
I can do the reverse and give a big ups. I mean, you mentioned Kendrick Lamar, right?
yeah,
Before, like he's one of those people who was out there doing everything that he could
Hmm.
to get on like every interview or all the outlets. And so I remember when he was in New York and he was doing like these different like video programs and all that. And I saw him like on the ground like doing these things. And then to see him get to where he's at, it's like to me that's a great thing to see because I
yeah,
saw the work that he put in.
yes. The work. That's the key phrase, the work itself. Yeah. Star, I want to ask you the same question, but I'll give you where this question came from, right?
Hmm.
So I went to, again, shout out to New Jersey Performing Arts Center, also known as NJPAC in Newark. Shout out to Raspberry Rocque. But I went to the show, right? The show was called Represent, and it was the show itself was a great design because it was the marriage of hip hop and spoken word and using those two art forms for change, for social justice, right? So I went with my producers, Kevin, two of my producers, Kevin and Aaron, and they had seen Rakim perform before. I had not seen him perform live, like, and so they were like, "Oh my gosh, he's so much better." the
Wow.
Kevin, if you can feel free to break the fourth wall, but Kevin told me a story when they first saw Rakim back in the day. He would come on the stage. I hope I'm telling it right. He would come on the stage, and his manager would hold the album cover, uh, or a big placard with that was just the letter R, and Rakim would just rock back and forth. That's the whole show.
He kind of talks about some of this stuff in his book and Sweat the Technique. I saw you
I see.
posted that. I read that. Yeah, yeah.
You read it, yeah. So I didn't get it yet, right? I forgot. I
Hmm.
was like, oh, I'm playing myself. My hip hop card is going to be revoked. But I'm glad that he talked about it because that's what the guys said on Thursday night, right? But his show, I say that to say, his show now at 57, and all of these decades later, because he and I are the same age, like it was entertaining. And the other part is he didn't have to do any work. That's what the guys observed as well, because the every song, the audience just did all the work.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
audience knew every lyric. They knew every lyric. So that's where the question came from. Have you seen this fall from grace, Star, or conversely? You know what I mean?
So okay. I the I'm just gonna go ahead and say Drake. Have never interviewed Drake or anything like that, but I do remember when I was had, I think, 5. Like when Drake was starting to kind of come up, like 2009, 10-ish, he really was like on the mixtape circuit. Like he really was approaching it like how rappers used to, like,
Right.
you know, putting out the mixtapes. He would go to certain spots in New York City. And even like college parties and things, he really was on the ground, like putting in the work. And you might see him at like there used to be this place called Santos Party House, and Santos Party House was like, you know, like all the it was like where underground meets maybe people with more of a name, because Q-Tip used to DJ there. Like it was a spot. And then like the everyday people would come. So it was like kind of an industry place, but it wasn't just like super stuffy and exclusive. It was like you could really mingle
Yeah.
with all different types of people. So he used to hit up places like that. But then he also used to hit up like just different parties and industry places. And I remember that. And it was like his name started going. Everyone had like he was on the top of everyone's mind. Oh yeah, Drake showed up at this place and he was so cool and this and that and blah blah blah. And so he kind of started out seeming like he was just like this cool, like
Right.
everyday kind of guy. Like you could be friends with him or whatever. Now I don't know. Whatever his approach to media is, I mean, granted, he's a superstar now. Maybe he feels like he doesn't need certain people or certain media, and he's actually said this, right? Like he's like said negative things about like Rob Markman or Elliot Wilson and calling them nerds, and he's gravitating more towards streamers, right? And these streamers, they're like 19, 20, and some of them don't even understand the concept of hip hop history. The way I've just seen
Right.
so much disrespect from that community
Wow.
regarding
Yeah.
streaming, and
Yeah.
like even with the beef with Kendrick,
Kai-
calling
Oh,
Kendrick's music too woke or like slavery music. You know what I mean? But that's who Drake is aligning himself with now. So that is a fall from grace. You go from
yeah.
you're really trying to be with the people and different types of people to now this is where you are. Like
Yeah.
you know
And
what I mean?
and
Like
you
no, go
see
ahead.
it with the trajectory of where his career is going now as well,
Yeah,
though. It's
yeah,
not really doing that well.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a important segment, and in just a minute we're going to go to the comments too. But I don't know the details of Kai Sinai and his deal and what he turned down and where he's headed. And I know he's a phenomena, right? The
Mhm,
live
mhm,
streamer.
mhm.
So C.Truth, this is for you because you have all of this longevity. But I do know that he is representative, to your point, Starr. He's representative of a whole new generation that not only don't know the OGs, but they don't register as caring about those who laid the pavement, be it in music or culture or in media, right? And who did he offend? Dion Cole. Dion Cole was he on Drink Champs? He was somewhere. He's is out there in the media.
Mhm.
Talking about, you know what I'm talking about, Star, the story where Kai Sinai was on the red carpet. He was hired to do a red carpet, and he was so like not not knowing who people were, but didn't even give the vibe like he gave a damn in the first
Yeah.
place. And Dion Cole, the comedian, sorry, was talking about it on some other podcast or whatever. So it just created all of this chatter, or
Mhm.
reignited, I should say, this chatter about that generation, that they don't care. And not that Dion Cole is an OG, right? I'm not saying that, but he deserves respect, like more than like, dude, I don't know you. Like,
That's the
that was the
thing.
vibe.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
and that's I know exactly what you're talking about. And so the thing with I get that. So like Casanat, he is a star, he is the star right now when he gets invited to these things. But if you're coming to also interview people and interact with people, you should at least have some kind of idea who's going to be there. And you can get that info on for any red carpet. You'll know who's probably going to go through. And I mean, I
yeah,
remember my days working. I mean, I'm not, famous or a streamer, but like when I did red carpets, which I hate red carpets. That's a tangent. But
yeah,
I used to at least this info would be provided to you ahead of time by whoever was organizing the show, or you could ask for it. Like, who are we expecting to be on the carpet today? And I would
yeah,
at least familiarize myself. I would have my little cards or my notes in my phone, like who's this, who's like if I needed to, if I
yeah,
needed that. And I
Yeah.
think that's the missing piece that a lot of these kids they
That,
don't
that
have.
they don't have. Star, can not Star. C2, can you weigh in? Because I want to add something as well, but after you, C2, on that very question.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, for one, whoever hired him has to know what they're getting too,
Hmm.
because how often does he do red carpets? I'm not familiar with all the work that he's done, but
Right,
I don't know him as somebody that does red carpets like
right,
that.
right.
So if that's who you're hiring to do a red carpet particular event and function, I don't know if you're going to get whatever it was they were looking for. Maybe they were looking for his audience, his views, his streams, or
Likely.
probably
Yeah.
what it was. This is what's going to
That's
happen
what it is.
Right. Yeah.
because he's not somebody that does red carpet. So I don't really put too much blame on him
Yeah.
because I don't think it's more of a function that he does anyway. And
I
like
don't think he should be covering red carpets. He
that's
is
what I'm
a
saying.
star. Yeah, he
He
should be
does
on
like a
the
lot of
carpet.
these Twitch things and all of these other
Yeah.
not red carpets though. That's a whole different vibe for him to
Yeah,
be doing
yeah.
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so I don't know how that whole thing came about. But anyway, but yeah, if you are going to be doing stuff like that, you definitely have to have some level of respect though,
Hmm. Hmm.
regardless of whether you want to be there, don't want to be there. If you're there in that space, you have to give some type of level of respect to the people who are coming through there, because you don't know also how these people can affect what it is that you do when
Hmm.
Mhm.
you're thinking about entertainment as a whole. You may think, oh, well, I'm good because I do, all of these different things on Twitch and I have these streamers and this audience and so forth. But again, you don't know how long that's going to be. And you
Yeah.
don't know who can get you to the next whatever it is that you're trying to do. It could be one of these people that you're talking to or,
Hmm.
or interacting with on the red carpet at these particular events. So you should have, at the very least, just a baseline level of respect for just people as a human being.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that's part of what the issue is
Yeah.
is that lack thereof. But let me put some responsibility on independent media, right?
Hmm.
And particularly Black media, because just to be fair, there, oh my God, the the horror stories, right? I tell this one all the time, but I'm not going to say the media outlet, but it's a famous Black outlet. It was a .com. I was doing some work. Shout out to Byron Hurt. We got the interview done. This was several years ago. The interview went live. The story went live. I went to check it out, and I promise you, the story stopped mid sentence, mid paragraph.
Oh wow.
Like there was nothing else there. And so I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like it went live, right? And so I was like, okay, that's a mistake. But then how did you not see that the story was half done and it stopped mid-sentence?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
took at least a day and a half. I
Wow.
promise. Okay, I might be
Wow.
exaggerating.
No,
Sorry.
but
It probably took a
ooh,
day. It took a full day at least, but I really think it was a day and a half. And this is after me texting the journalist, like, yo, the story's not there. And like when you pressed go live, like you didn't double check. So that was one story,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
A very famous that's still around today. Fact checkers don't exist anymore. When I first started
No.
doing PR, when any article that I got for anybody, once the interview was done, the media outlet was going white or black. It was an
There
industry
was,
standard.
yep.
I was going to get a call to have everything verified. The
Hmm.
fact that it was a job, Star,
I worked as a fact checker
yeah.
for a hot second.
So,
Yeah.
so you either call the publicist or if you knew the person because you were not going to put that story out without
Hmm.
verifying the information. It was a whole job.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I've seen some horror stories. And you could tell when the writer is dialing it in. Like, dude, like, did you do a Google search and that's your article? And
Hmm. Hmm.
sometimes the other thing is true where the article is so verbose. It's so like, dude, you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Like, you don't
Yeah.
need $100 words. You know what I mean? Like it's just over the top. So there's a lack of training.
There's a
There's a
lack
lack
of
of
training. That sorry
the
to cut you off
willingness.
because I know this very well. Like I don't feel like I've had that much editorial mentorship. Honestly, like I think I could have had more
Yeah,
coming up because what's happening now is everybody's so understaffed. Like there was
yeah,
a
that's
time where
real.
there were different types of editor. People don't respect writers, and first of all, and don't understand how many layers of it you really need to get things going. You do need to have the fact checkers. You need a copy editor. The copy editor is like the final boss of all editing, right? Like they're the one that remember every single grammar detail that you might forget.
Those are positions. I don't know if people know there's a difference between an editor and a copy editor,
Yeah,
even.
that's the
You know what I
thing.
mean?
Yep. Yep. An associate editor, assistant editor, and even speaking to what you said about the article just stopped. I've had embarrassing moments. I'm not even gonna lie. Like one time there was an article that I wrote for it was this happened for two different sites, but the thing is I'm working with one editor, right? And what happens too is sometimes the editor might be like, oh, I don't have to look at this because they're so busy. And even if you tell them, I've submitted articles where I was like, look, this is not done yet. Let me, if you're going to put it on, put it on the back end so you can have it by the due date, but like at least let me look over it before you do, or you look over it, and they still didn't do it, and then they'll hit publish.
And then
And
it
now
went
I'm getting
live.
hit by publicists like, oh, look at all the spelling mistakes and look at this. And
Oh
I'm
my
just,
gosh.
I told you not to make this go live. Where are you like? So that's happened to me. It's embarrassing. I know some of those people out there still probably side eyeing me. It comes down to me.
Right. But it wasn't your fault.
Right, right. But yeah, like we're so. I mean, a lot of these outlets are working on the wing and the prayer, and so
That's
you
real.
get that like sloppy work. Um, Yeah, somebody said break down the difference. Oh, Mo, hey Mo,
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
difference
come
in
to the
those.
comments in just a second.
Yeah,
But I wanted you to weigh in too, C.Truth. I wanted you to weigh in on this aspect of the conversation where sometimes it's not the artist, it's not the listener, it's sometimes it's the media outlet, sometimes it's the
hmm
radio station. Like, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Starr was saying, it's just rush to be the first. Let's get there first. And before doing any verifications or anything else, let's just get it out there before everybody else without actually doing the due diligence with what it is that you're trying to do or who it is that you're trying to put out there or the story that you're trying to put out there. So it's definitely the same thing that happens on the radio side, the broadcasting side, and so forth. It's
Yeah.
the same thing happens because there's this rush to be before everyone else.
But see, when you're working with people who are designing their own structures and their own protocols, and they have this care for what it is that they're doing, like thermal sound waves, and I can say that like hands up, like if I send you a press release, you're gonna read it. You know what I mean? If
Yes,
I send you the
yes.
artist bio, you're going to read it and find a way to make that into the art, into the interview. Shout out to Imhotep Gary Bird over at WBAI because
One of my mentors, and he
man,
doesn't even know it, but he's one of
right.
my radio mentors.
Yeah, because he's been doing it for so long. He's got to
Yeah,
be at here
hmm
like it's over 50.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
over 50. And I can honestly say to your point, like he's mentored so many of us, and you send him information, he's gonna read it
hmm
and understand it. And it makes for a robust interview, right? So it
Right, right.
makes for
And
a robust
I just want
yeah.
to add real quickly, like I like the fact that you were like shouting out at like bookstores and reading and all of that, which is very important.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't do that today, not
yeah,
just
yeah.
in this industry, just in general. And
hmm
it's a very, very sad and something that needs to be changed because
Yeah.
reading is extremely fundamental to what it is that we do and what it is that we know. And hip hop, bringing it into the hip hop perspective
Yeah.
conversation, hip hop was really one of the first audio books. If you think about it,
Wow.
right?
That's a bar.
Audio books. What do they
That's a
do?
bar.
It's a narration of stories, right?
Wow.
What do
Yeah.
people, rappers and people in hip hop do? They're narrating stories. People don't always like the stories, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's really an audio book if you think about it.
You're so smart.
Yep.
You're so smart. Let's go
That's from
over.
reading. From reading.
Right. Let's go over to the comments real quick. I want to say, well, first we have a new member. Kevin, I'm going to do these real quick. So bear with me, Kev. I Peaceful became a member. So thank you to everybody who became a member. You can subscribe, which is free, to the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. And you can become a member, which is for a couple of dollars a month. You support this independent media movement. So shout out to you, I Peaceful. Thank you so much. We have, see, I knew it. We got people from all over. So this is in Jutan, I think. Greetings from Albania, Europe. Definitely. We are so grateful that you're here. This person is watching on Twitter. In case you didn't know, we're here every Saturday morning, 11 Eastern. So thank you for watching and come back and see us. We know that Mo is here. Mo is going to be with us. Mo Beasley is going to be with us in December. We're going to have an end of year review, and he's one of our loyal viewers. So he's coming back. Cynthia Rose, hey, Cynthia Rose is here. She's a regular star in C.Truth. I don't know if you know, but Cynthia Rose is a regular. I don't think she has ever missed a show, be it live
Wow.
or because she tells us. Like I know because she's either in the chat or she's on the watch page afterwards, like, hey, I'm watching. It's Tuesday, but I'm still watching. So thank you, Cynthia. We appreciate you sincerely. We wish we had more people like you. We have a comment from Reggie Jacks, who was a regular as well, says, my first show was Run DMC UTFO. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Just told your age, Reggie. First show was Run DMC UTFO, Forcing D's, Jekyll and Hyde at the Beacon.
Wow.
Wow, that's way back.
Where Andre Harrell came out of. He
I
was
was
one
just
half
about
of
to
Jekyll and
say,
Hyde, and we all know what he went on to do with Uptown Records and so forth.
Yeah.
You know.
exactly. People don't know he started off. Many people don't know he started off as an MC. To your point, C.Truth. Thank you. Yes, Sandy, who's part of the producing team here, says shout out to NJ Pack and shout out to Mayor Raz Baraka. Yes, for sure. I want to see. Oh, here's a question from Black Men Investing, who's a regular. Says, is there an issue with being too familiar or friendly with an artist? I remember artists being angry if a journalist was critical in the early 90s. C.Truth, let's start with you on that. Your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, you keep everything professional the way it's supposed to be. You can be friendly and familiar with an artist, but at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're doing, which is your job, whether it's putting out a story or what have you, that's going to be what it is. Like it has nothing, one doesn't have anything to do with the other.
Right.
And if they can't understand that, then that's their issue, not mine.
That's their issue because
Yeah.
artists,
Yeah.
they come to the table with issues for sure. Many of them because they're human. Because they're
Right.
human, not
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
artists, but because they're human.
Yeah.
So, Star, this one is for you from Mo Beasley. This is the one you started to read.
Oh yeah.
And Mo Beasley said, please break down the difference between those types of editors, please. So we have editor, copy editor, associate editor. Like break that down for our viewers.
Yeah. Copy editors are the ones that like fine tune everything, like everything. So after everything is written, after the other editors have looked at it, they look at it before it gets to the editor in chief. So they are making sure sometimes copy editor and research editor can be interchangeable, but they can also be separate. So like the copy editor is making sure all the grammar is on point and that it has been researched. If it hasn't been researched, then they'll do it. So they want to make sure everyone's name is spelled correctly. If you say somebody's 65, they want to make sure someone's 65. Even stuff like if you're interviewing two people about the same incident and the two people have different perspectives, they just want to double down on like, okay, this person said this person said that. They want to make sure that the article kind of illustrates that, okay, the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that if this person said I was on the elevator and we were being recorded when the fight went down, that that recording exists somewhere just in case it comes back to. So the copy editor fine tunes everything. Associate editors tend to be like maybe like the right hand of everyone. So like they want to make sure like the music section, the lifestyle section, the culture section, that everyone has everything they need to have everything in. Managing editors manage the schedule of whatever the publication is, and they tend to deal with like payments. So if a freelancer has questions, operations, exactly.
Mhm.
Assistant editor again, like right hand. So they're on the lower end, right? They tend to be the beginner editors. They're just starting out in their careers. So
and we're
yeah,
talking about for the written word, right? This is
for
what
the
we're
written,
talking about right now. For
yep.
the written word, that copy editor is that technician. And Starr, would you agree? From my understanding, the editor or the main editor, maybe not the editor in chief, but for the story, before the
Mhm.
article gets to the editor in chief, there's someone that's got to make sure that there's continuity, right?
Yes.
That the article makes sense outside of the
Mhm.
facts, outside of the research. Does it make sense? Is it
Yes.
timely? Is it all of those things? So that's an overarching view, of
Mhm.
the editor. That's what I know to be true. And that also
Yeah.
goes for books as well. You know what I mean? Like I'm editing a project right now. And my job is not to copy. I mean, I do copy edit, but right
Mhm.
now I'm like, so there's continuity between the chapters and your voice and all those things. And are you going to play
Mhm.
yourself if you put this out there like that? Like, can we just
Exactly.
all of that
Yeah.
story development, message development for sure? Yeah. So Mo,
Yeah.
we hope that answers your questions. I want to go to let's see. Sandy says a lot of people are more concerned with being personalities themselves rather than doing the research to know about the giant they have in front of them. That was
Yeah.
Sandy. Shout out to Sandy. Paraphrasing your point. That's the other part that I forgot to say. There are artists who are like, I don't want to talk to you because you're
Mhm.
more to the points that is front and center right now. You're more tuned in with being famous than
Mhm.
telling the story that I want out there. So,
Mhm.
C.Truth, what do you think about what about that? That journalists who are trying to be the story as opposed to covering the story.
Yeah, and that's not journalism. They shouldn't be a journalist. If that's what you're trying to do, if that's your particular end goal, then you shouldn't be a journalist because that's not what journalism is about. I mean, you can still ascend to where it is that you want to and still be a journalist, at
Mhm.
the same time. But if you're like totally just, okay, this is all about me and not about the story, not about the main particular topic that I'm supposed to be looking at, you shouldn't be a journalist if that's
Right.
all that you're interested in and looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. I would agree. It's just like see people who come to me and they say, I want this, that, and the other, but I'm not really concerned about the media. They come into a publicist now, right? And they're saying they're not really concerned about the media, but they want their stories told or whatever. They're trying to, in their mind, they're trying to be humble. And I find a nice way to say, then we shouldn't be talking, right? Because
Yeah.
my job is to make you famous, but not carelessly, right?
Mhm.
And I use famous in air quotes, but to make the story, put it out there in front of people, but in a curated way. But don't act like you don't want this. So, like, I think the point is to be clear about what you want to do, and
Mhm.
then so just be forthright with it. I think is what I'm really trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Rolando here? Wait a minute, I didn't see. I'm sorry. We have a team member. Yes, Rolando says I'm here. I'm just in a stupid meeting at work. Poo-pooing the stupid meeting because we want you here with us like you always are every Saturday. He said, look, he responded and he said, screw this job. But no, we have a family here at Ascending. So we have regulars, and Rolando is a regular who's always supportive in the chat. So I wanted to
Nice.
give him his love for sure, for sure. So family, let's go to our ascending moments. Because I think we could close out. I think we had a really good, I thought it was a robust conversation. I could totally geek out some more. But uh-oh, did we lose Truth for a second? Oh. So let's go with you, Starr. Let's do your ascending moment as we talked before. Like, what is that breakthrough moment in your life?
Yeah. I'll go with the recent being able to interview Kwame. Right. I've interviewed a lot of people. Some interviews are better than others in terms of like the vibe and the things we talk about. He and I got to nerd out, geek out on, like, we both have toy collections and like it was beyond hip hop. But no, but what makes it an ascending moment for me, especially beyond the conversation, was how I landed the interview, right? Like, I just wrote on Threads, and it came from somebody was talking about Kwame Mamdani's middle name is Kwame. I mean, Zoran Mandani.
Yes.
Mandani. His middle name is Kwame, and I was like, yeah. And then I was like, he was named after Kwame Nkrumah. And then this is just random Twitter Threads ramble, and I was like, speaking of men named Kwame, I would love to interview that Kwame from hip hop.
Is that how it came about?
That's how it came about. Like, literally, apparently, he and I have people in common, and the two people that know me and know him, they like both of us, and they were like, yo, why didn't this happen? And next thing I know, I'm talking to Kwame in the DM. So there wasn't even a publicist involved or nothing. It was like somebody just connected us. And I was just like, oh my God. And that's one reason why I love social media. That's the positive about social media.
That's the positive. Yes, that's the upside.
Yes. And just the fact that he wanted to do, like, because he didn't know me, right? And like, just the fact that he wanted to do it based on what those people told him. So that was an ending moment for me, for sure.
I am giddy for you. I am happy. That's dope.
Yes, and the replay is live. I know you'll give out on social media and stuff.
I'm gonna go. The
replay is live.
And that's on IG. As a matter of fact, Starr, people can follow you on Threads and IG at Starr. For those who are listening and not watching, follow Starr Rocque on IG and Threads. STARR_ROCQUE. That's where you are. But let me just say, like, before Instagram, before Threads, you were a beast on Twitter. You were a beast on Twitter. Like, I was like, yo, and I'm an early adopter for Twitter. Like, I remember when Twitter first came out and nobody was on there. And I was like, yo, Black people, to all of my put on blast people, you got to get on Twitter. This was obviously what, 2007, 2008. Yeah, around that time. This is when Twitter would always crash. I don't know if people remember.
Twitter whale.
With the whale, right? When it would crash, it would be the little whale. Like, yo, I did the first Twitter conference. You know what I mean? Because I was so early on, right? And I saw the potential for this. And you were right there. So you were a beast, amassing followers, commentary left and right. I was like, okay, she's surpassing me. Let her be my mentor. You know what I mean? So shout out to you for your longevity.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So everybody, if you're listening, follow Starr on Threads and IG, Starr_Rocque, ROCQUE. So let's definitely support you. Wait, before you go, I mean, we're not closing out this nanosecond, but tell us about your book.
Oh, yeah. I released a book in 2016 called Bloggers Can't Be Trusted. It's crazy because the book, the core of it is a rom-com, but it's also just kind of like me making fun of the experiences of what it's like to be a journalist, with the ridiculous personalities and like I was making commentary on how journalism is changing and shifting away from sort of like a news model or information model to it's more gossip and entertainment type
your
stuff.
Point, the word you coined right here.
And it's crazy because even from then, things are so different now. Like in 2016, you didn't have like streamers the way they are now, and like the back then it was more blogging and gossip. Now the heavy emphasis is on streaming and video platforms, and it's just so different now. But yes, I think it's funny. It follows a jaded journalist on her journey through trying to figure out what's next for her. And she ends up in a relationship with this, like, he's like a rapper actor type. But yeah, Bloggers Can't Be Trusted is self-published. It is on Amazon. I'm working on some short stories right now, based on some of the characters from that book.
Okay.
Because it's been such a long time, and I'm like, everyone's like,
It's almost
a
10
lot of
years. Next year be 10
almost,
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a slow writer, so
Oh, please,
it's
don't
just,
apologize.
because people are like, you should have been wrote another book. I know, but so I'm working on some short stories now with some of those characters. But a lot of people, I think the feedback for it was overwhelmingly positive, more than the negative. So I think a lot of people thought it was funny. I hope somebody out there will get it. Bloggers Can't Be Trusted. It is on Amazon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's put Kev, let's put her Substack on, because you're on Substack now, right?
Yep. You can find me by searching Starr Rocque. It's very new, brand spanking new, but I have a lot going on. I launched a podcast called Black Horror Journal. That's the other side of my interest.
You're horror head.
Yes. But it's like I describe it as the podcast where Black history meets pop culture and creativity. So even for people who don't like horror, I think you will find some interesting tidbits in there, because there's not always, but so far every episode, I'm on episode 6, has had some sort of like historical tidbit. So like I did an episode where I talk about this this blaxploitation movie called Sugar Hill, and it's a horror movie, and I talk about how the main character, Sugar Hill is her name, she uses voodoo as payback. So in there's some like tidbits about the history of voodoo in pop culture, and how it's actually not voodoo, it's Vodun, right? Like that's what it comes from.
I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was listening. I was like, I know it's gonna come out, so let me be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I interviewed an author who she recently dropped a Substack. Shout out to Margot Weston. She has a Substack called Welcome to Haintland. And it's like right now it's just her writing short stories, and she's an author too. She's like she's written several history books like for children, and like she's a real deal. But she's written with Haintland, she's writing fictional horror stories and speculative stories, and she's eventually going to open it up to other Black authors who want to contribute horror stories. But we talk about what a haint is and like all that. It's a goal.
No, yeah, okay, yeah, because I don't do horror, but I'm gonna come to your podcast. It just conveniently went out of my head. I don't like the genre. I don't. I never have. But you're telling me some historical context, so okay. So your Substack, people can search Starr Rocque, ROCQUE.
Yep.
Are you gonna have excerpts from your book on your Substack?
Oh, shout out to you being a publicist. That's a great idea, actually. Because I was going to say the Substack is going to be a hub of everything I have going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. I will put some
as teasers and link to Uncle Bobby's, like Amazon.
Yes,
I'm not gonna
yes.
But Uncle Bobby's, we gotta see how to get your book there. But also they have links where you can go to unclebobbies.com and get any book, even if it's not in the Germantown store. You follow what I'm saying? Like, that way people can support that way. Yeah. Have you connected with Troy Johnson over at African American Literature Book Club?
No.
Okay. So we'll talk afterwards. We've shouted out, that's a Black media shout out that we've done. We've always talking about Troy. The African American Literature Book Club is the oldest online hub for Black authors, period. Wow. Right. I have articles on there. Not articles. I did a review for them on a hip hop book, actually. Be a Father to Your Child is there. The reviews, the book, like people can go there and get any book, like as a feeding system through other networks. So shout out to Troy Johnson and AALBC. African American Literature Book Club.com. So that's for you, and it's for everybody, because y'all know I be knowing the stuff. Only on Saturdays am I right. All the other 6 days of the week, you better verify what I'm saying. No, I'm just teasing. So, but let's go to C.Truth. Yes, your ascending moment, if you would, sir.
I mean, I don't have one moment in particular, but just being able to have all of the different guests that I've had on the show to talk about the different things that they either do or been through that
Hmm.
people can gain and get like good food from, so to speak. Like Idris Elba, who was talking about his love of DJing and music, which he wasn't doing then, but he's doing that now. He
Mhm.
recently collaborated with Slick Rick on some things,
Yes,
and he's been
yes.
spinning at different places. So
They
he
talked
was
about that on Thursday. Yeah.
he was talking about that then when he was on the show. So
Wow.
He's a good
being,
DJ. Random. Sorry to cut you off. I've been
yeah,
to an event that he was a DJ
yeah.
for. He does his thing.
Yeah,
He loved it.
but he's been into it like for a while, and people didn't know that. They just know him as an actor. So stories like that. Clifton Powell, who's from DC, who was talking about how he knows James Brown, who not the performer, but the sports dude who's been
Mm.
around for so long, and that whole hub of Southeast DC, and who came out of that. And Clifton Powell, for those who don't know, he played Cuddy in Dead Presidents in that
Yes.
movie. Who else? I mean, Roy Ayers, when he was talking about how he felt about all of the people who sampled his music and all of that kind of stuff. So all of these different peoples with their stories. And recently I've had the genius on she's from Buffalo. She's a new artist who does her thing, very raw, very gritty. But in addition to being a rapper, like she has background in tech and computer programming. She's getting her master's right now. So I like to have artists on to show people that these particular artists and these people are more than one dimensional. Like they
Yeah.
do so many different things and they're so intelligent and
Yeah.
very educated. And you don't get to see that or hear about that because these are not the things that are focused on and emphasized on when you go to other places. But I definitely want to do that to show you just the diversification of these people and what they do. I mean, some amazing, amazing artists have come on and does. There was another guy, Ace Wonder, who's from out of Maryland. He knows like computer coding and language and setting up like different servers and things like.
Hmm.
And this is in addition to him being a great rapper, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So
What I really love about your show is the variety. Like at
Mhm.
yeah,
any
that too.
given moment,
Yeah,
yeah, at any given moment, you can get just about anything. And to go through archives, you've been doing this for since 1995,
Mhm.
yeah,
nonstop.
yeah.
So
I
where
was
can
just a baby
people
then.
say it again?
I was just a baby then.
Mhm.
Didn't know
So
nothing. Was just it was different times, but fun times.
yeah. So how do people, okay, so what we have on the screen now is how people can follow you on social media. On
Yes,
Instagram, for those who are listening, it's thermal sound waves, plural,
yes,
on
correct.
IG. But
Hmm.
on Twitter slash X, whatever, Twitter X, it's thermal sound wave, but it's without the E. It's wave,
Without the es.
without the ES. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
thermal sound wave, but there's no ES on the end. So that's where, like, you're in other places on social media, but those are
yeah,
your prominent places. But
right,
also, people can just go to the hub, right, which
correct.
is
Yeah,
thermalsoundwaves.com.
yeah, and there you can get like the most recent show that we've done, the most recent radio program. You could also get connects to the podcast because we do that as well. And we were
Right.
the early adapters of podcasting as we
I
started
know you.
in 2008, you know,
Yes.
when podcasting wasn't a thing at all back then. I mean,
Yeah.
podcasting started around, the idea of it was like 2003, 2004,
Yeah.
something like that. And
Were
then
you
it
on Blog
started,
Talk Radio? Were you on Blog Talk Radio for a
Oh
minute?
wow.
yeah, for a little while
Yeah.
we were on
So
there
were
as
we.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we've done different things and been early adapters of different things and platforms as well, to get out there and just to use the different tools that are available to us, you know, given that we're independent. So
Yeah. I just deeply appreciate you. I'm listening to you. We've known each other for all these decades. We've worked together. I've had Chief Ayanda Clark on your show, who's been on here as well. I've
yeah,
had Asasaya um, um, on the show as well, and we got to get them here. But like whoever I've had, you've always said yes. So I'm just listening
yeah.
to you, like just in awe of your perseverance. Like that can't be overstated for real.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's the stories though. It's the stories that keep me going and make me want to continue to do this, because there's so
Right.
many interesting people that have these different stories and backgrounds out there that are like, wow, like, you know, I'm learning things as I'm talking to these people, in
Right.
addition to like helping them get their stories out there as well. So, and we got to get Starr on. We haven't had Starr on the program yet, so we have to
Yay!
get Starr on.
Make that
Yeah,
connection.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No question. No question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, fam, it's so hard to say goodbye. I know that sounds corny as hell, but I mean it sincerely. Like we could really, really go on, but we want to close out on a couple of other things. But thank you so much. My heart is full right now. This was an amazing conversation, and we didn't even scratch the surface.
I
Like
know.
not
Yeah,
really, not
yeah.
really. But it was a
I
good.
come back whenever you want.
Well,
Same.
listen. Sorry, you already been back, so you know. This is, when you come back again, it'll be time number 3. But C.Truth, I'm happy to be able to help amplify what you do, and it's from the heart. So keep your texts open because
Yes,
that's
yes,
what we
yes,
call
yes.
you back.
And
Yes,
April, I'll be looking for pictures for my AURN.
say it again. Say
I'll
it.
pictures for my AURN show too, of course. The
Yes,
IG
yes,
Lives.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, fam. So we'll see you soon. Thank you, thank you. And everybody, so we're going to do our closeouts just a little bit. I want to make sure really quickly if we just to make sure. I think we don't have any other major. Um, what am I trying to say? Comments. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, let's do Bronx Nights. Let's do Bronx Nights. Let's put that out. We want to shout out the Bronx Nights. You all have heard me talk about that football organization, the Bronx Nights Youth Tackle Youth Tackle Football and Cheerleading Organization that is run by my business partner, my brother, my lead producer here, Drake Holiday. The junior Pee-wees have made it to the championships. They are playing tomorrow, Sunday. So let's send good vibes to the Bronx Knights, to the cheerleaders, to the parents, to the players. Congratulations. Amazing feats. The Bantams and the junior Pee-wees made it to the playoffs, but the junior Pee-wees are the ones that are going to get the championship tomorrow on Sunday. So I definitely wanted you all to know that. I want to remind everybody how you can find us. The Ascending playlist is always available on Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube. What else we have, Kev, as a reminder? Oh, Marc Lamont Hill is available to come to your campus, your corporation, your community event. Contact Drake at AquilaWorksOns.com. We book for him. We do his speaking engagements. We're having some great events there. So thank you to everybody in that realm. Let us know if you want to bring him to your campus or your community event. I am on social media. April R. Silver and Aquila Work Songs. Those are my 2 social media channels. And you gotta, I don't think we did the banner for this, but you gotta sign up to putonblast.com. I mean, Put on Blast, the email newsletter. Go to AquilaWorksOns.com because you could get free tickets, not just to NJ Back, but to every place. Like, this is what we do. We want to spread the culture, but you got to be a member of the email list so you can find out how to be eligible for whatever event, Broadway show, off-Broadway show, at NJ Pack, all the places. If you're in the New York area, then you should definitely, or wherever you are, and you just get to New York because New York is so dope. So on that note, everybody, remember to sign up to Marc's Patreon channel. We will see you next week. We have another hip hop segment. Next week. Yes, Timothy Jones. That's a long story, but it's a good story. So we will see you here at Ground Zero at Ascending. Stay up.